So first I want to introduce myself. My name is Jamie Kelly, and I am the Director of Certificate and Non-Degree Programs at the College of Liberal and Professional Studies at the University of Pennsylvania. And one of the things that I get to work with are these incredible certificates that we now offer online. And I've had the good fortune of working with students in the certificate for some time. Next, I'd like to introduce Dr. Julia Block.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julia Block. I'm the faculty director of the Creative Writing Certificate. I'm also a poet and a former editor, so I teach courses in poetry writing and also the art of editing. And I'm really excited to hear your questions tonight.
And Eileen, if you don't mind introducing yourself.
Hello, I'm Eileen Ford, and I'm an admissions and recruitment specialist at Penn LPS Online. And like Jamie, I feel really fortunate and lucky to talk to so many of you. I know I have talked to some of you already, so I'm really excited for you to hear more about the program.
Thank you. And we saw a question in the chat, just want to answer it. We cannot see the participants, so if you are dressed down at the end of your day, that's quite all right. You can relax and listen to the webinar and communicate with us through the chat and the Q&A. So thank you so much. And I also want to sort of give an overview in this session. We are going to tell you, what you need to know about this certificate at the University of Pennsylvania. And our goal by the end is that you'll have a good sense if this certificate makes sense for you. So we'd like to give you a behind the scenes view of our certificate in creative writing. All right, so we're going to start off by talking about the courses that are offered in the certificate and the student resources that will be available to our students. All right, so the certificate in creative writing is a 4-course certificate, and each course within the certificate is a course unit, and we get a lot of questions about the course unit. Basically, one course unit at Penn is equivalent to 4 credit hours at another university. So by completing this certificate, you will complete about 16 credits of coursework. This certificate is very much for credit. It is not a MOOC, you will be busy. And this is Penn credit, and it comes with a Penn transcript. So that should give you a sense of the rigor. Each course within the certificate, I should say most courses within the certificate are 8-week courses. And so because the courses are compressed, being 8 weeks instead of 16 weeks, you can expect that you'll be putting in about 10 to 15 hours a week of work into each class. Most of our students are participating on a part-time basis. And by doing this certificate on a part-time basis, you can complete it in a year. Another thing that students really appreciate is that these classes are asynchronous, which means that they don't require live meetings. But I will say that just because these courses are asynchronous, that does not mean that they are self-paced. There are frequent deadlines for the assignments. And so you will see yourself logging in on a daily basis or every other day to your course to participate. These courses are fully online, so you do not need to be in the city of Philadelphia to participate. Although if you are in Philadelphia, we welcome you to visit campus, hopefully once things are a little bit better. So basically we have students participating in the certificate from all over the world. And I will add that we also offer an advanced certificate. So students that complete the 4 courses and receive the certificate can go on to take 2 additional courses and also receive an advanced certificate. So I would like to reintroduce Dr. Julia Block so she can talk a little bit more about the classes that are offered and the classroom experience.
Thanks, Jamie. So the first thing I want to say is Jamie mentioned that all the classes are asynchronous, and they are fully asynchronous. There are no required meetings. Yeah, but as she said, that doesn't mean that you're not, you know, working with a lot of ongoing deadlines and requirements, but it also doesn't mean necessarily that you're working in isolation. You actually have a tremendous amount of contact with your instructor and your classmates. I'm teaching a fully asynchronous class right now, and I am chatting with my students on Canvas. I'm chatting with them on Slack. I'm emailing with them. They're emailing, Slacking. That's a weird verb to articulate it that way, but you know what I mean. Posting on Slack to each other, messaging on Canvas to each other constantly. So it is just this like constant buzz of interaction, which is really important in an online course, because what we're trying to do is, you know, really meet together in the workshop space in just the same way that we would face to face. So I'll just talk about a couple of these courses that you see on your screen. Creative Writing 101, the craft of creative writing, is really meant to be an introduction to the craft and to the practice of writing. That said, even if you're someone who has taken creative writing courses in the past, I really encourage you to consider this course as a great way to kind of lay the foundation of your practice. You're going to find that you'll experience a great introduction to a number of different genres: poetry, prose, reportage, and so forth. And really the most important thing that will come out of craft of creative writing is the ability to cultivate an ongoing writing practice. So I really love the way this course has been designed for this program. And then I'll say a few words about writing about place, which I think is a wonderful course to think about in this moment in which, you know, we're all sort of stuck in one place. But this is a class that has always encouraged us to think really expansively about place, the places that we find ourselves physically and imaginatively. It's a wonderful course to explore your powers of description and your ability to harness detail in your writing. And then I'll also just mention that my class, The Art of Editing, is meant as a class that can appeal to both writers and editors, anyone who, you know, works with a lot of language in their workplace. So folks who have found their way into this class might be working in marketing. They might be working in various corporate or law office environments. They might be teachers who want to kind of experience grammar in a different way as an editor. So it's a very open class, it's a very flexible class in which you'll harness very concrete tools of editing, but also read a lot of really cool literature along the way. I will also say something about the classroom side. So as I mentioned, what we're doing is really recreating that sort of classic workshop atmosphere that has always been at the heart of the creative writing pedagogy. And one of the great ways we do that is by keeping the class size relatively small. So you can expect that most classes will be capped between 17 and 24. And that allows for a lot of kind of intimate hands-on experience and interaction with both your instructor and also your fellow students. And I'll say also what differentiates all of our classes from some of the other creative writing classes out there. So as Jamie mentioned, these are not MOOCs, these are not, you know, massive open online classes where it's not always, you know, guaranteed that you're going to get direct feedback on your own writing. You will get direct feedback on your own writing. And also you'll have the opportunity to join the really tremendous literary community at the University of Pennsylvania. So all of our faculty teach in the School of Arts and Sciences at Penn. They're all deeply involved with the Kelly Writers House, which is a really fantastic literary arts center here on campus. They're holding lots of events by Zoom almost every day of the week. So I encourage you to check them out when you have a chance. And you can really expect that you'll feel a part of this kind of larger web of creative writers as part of the certificate program. Oh, this is me too, the faculty, meet our faculty. So I'm gonna say a little bit about a couple of the folks whose faces you see here. Lainey Brown is a poet, a Pew Fellow. She writes prose and memoir. She is currently teaching poetry workshops in the BAS program. Scott Burkhart is teaching screenwriting, and he's someone who has worked in both film writing and television writing. You'll see my face up there on the upper left, and also the face of Al Filreis, who created ModPo, which is shorthand for the Modern Contemporary American Poetry course, which is also being taught by Anna Strong Safford. And that's the one course in the certificate that is not at the classic 8-week pace, but it's at the 10-week pace. And it's a really tremendous overview of modern and contemporary American poetry that I really encourage you to check out. And some of the other faces you'll see here represent, again, the faculty who are very active here at Penn, very active practitioners in their field, award-winning writers, widely published writers, and all folks who are really dedicated to their own students' writing, right? Like they take on these teaching these classes because they enjoy most of all working one-on-one with their students. All right, so shall I speak to who the certificate makes sense for here as well, Jamie? So when we conceived of this certificate, we thought a lot about what would differentiate it from other opportunities out there. And we thought about who sort of was already making their way into our courses and what our faculty could offer. And what we kept coming back to consistently is that creative writing is a really flexible tool for a lot of different professions. So a lot of people find their way into these courses because they in fact have their heart set on publishing their own work in journals, magazines, maybe shopping around a book or a screenplay. And these workshops will help you, produce that work and get a sense of where to go next with it. But these are also courses that are terrific for people who want to make space for their own writing in their professional and personal lives. So whether you're an author or a journalist or a corporate copywriter or a fundraising or development consultant who, again, works with a lot of language, has to produce a lot of copy, maybe has to edit copy by others. Maybe you're a freelance editor or someone who's interested in freelance editing, or maybe you're the person that your friends always turn to you to read their work and mark it up and correct it. Maybe you're interested in coaching writing in a community arts center or working with young people. Maybe you're a teacher at any level, secondary school or higher ed. And maybe again, you're anyone in a writing focused career. You're anyone who's constantly having to produce copy, produce memos, produce brochures, produce articles, write for websites. Or maybe you're someone who really wants, again, to make space for writing in their personal life. Keep a journal, discover how writing can help you express the unexpressible. These courses are, as I keep saying, really open to all sorts of writers with all different levels of experience, but they're also really focused. They're also going to give you very concrete tools to produce your own work. You're going to be introduced to specific genres and forms, writing prompts, writing tricks, and tools of the trade. So if you're wondering whether this certificate makes sense for you, I encourage you to ask us. Tell us what brings you to the certificate program info session, and we'll help you figure out whether it's right for you. Okay, so I want to say a little bit more about the broader web of the literary community that this certificate, again, will put you in touch with. So as I mentioned, Kelly Writers House, fantastic literary arts center here on campus, internationally known for bringing writers from all around the world into a beautiful old Victorian space, now broadcasting those events by Zoom and open to the public, free and open to all, always. Penn Sound is the largest free archive of recorded poetry and is a terrific tool for the classroom, for your own thinking and writing and inspiration. And Jacket 2 is the Journal of Poetry and Poetics that I'm one of the editors of. We are committed to open source scholarship on poetry and poetics, commentary, podcast series, and other kinds of thinking and writing that's happening within and without the academy around the creative arts. So you can expect to get a taste of all these different kind of communities that live here at Penn that have always had a very global reach through the courses that you find in the creative writing certificate.
So I thought I'd add a little bit to some of the wonderful resources that Julia shared and talk about some additional sort of foundational resources that all students within Penn LPS Online have access to. The first is 24/7 tech support. When we launched our programming, it was something that we considered to be absolutely necessary for all of our students. And so if you have an issue, no matter where you are in the world, no matter what time of day and it's technical, there's someone by phone or by email who is going to help walk you through that. And I have to say that the people that work in tech support are just phenomenal. And I lean on them as well as a staff member, and they just could not be more helpful. So big fan. You also have access to 24/7 tutoring. So, if you have, concerns about your writing, or if you end up taking other classes, the 24/7 tutoring that we utilize can help you, can review your writing. There's also tutoring in a variety of subjects, as well as some career tools that are available to you 24/7. Once admitted into the program, you are not on your own. Julia was talking about how in touch you'll be with your professors, but what you also have is an academic advisor. And after being admitted into your certificate, you'll receive a welcome email from the advising team and an introduction to your academic advisor. And their job is to help you understand Penn, understand your resources, help you plan out your courses, just be a support to you during your studies at Penn. In fact, we have monthly chats with the advising staff where you can meet other students, even from outside of your certificate, and your advisor, and there's just tons of different ways that we connect. Accessible, friendly faculty couldn't be more true. You will really get to know your faculty and be supported by them. We also offer career advising, so you wouldn't always know that with a certificate program something like that would exist. But within career advising, we offer a graduate school prep workshop for students, career workshops, and book clubs, lots of discussions about planning your career and planning maybe graduate study as well. Additionally, students in the certificate have access to the Penn libraries, which you would primarily be using virtually, and the resources there for both school and personal use are absolutely incredible. There's so much to see within the Penn library system. Student disability services is absolutely crucial to many of our students. If there is a disability that affects your participation in your course, we would encourage you to get set up with them before you begin your studies, so that accommodations can be made for you in the classroom. And then lastly, I want to mention the My Penn LPS Online community. There's an online community of all Penn LPS Online students. And within that, we have basically on a daily basis, all of these events that are happening virtually at Penn that you can participate in. There's discussion groups, questions, like we have a veterans group on there. And you are invited to join My Penn LPS Online when you become a student and participate there. So now the technical stuff. If after attending and maybe asking some questions, you decide that the certificate makes sense for you, the person that you need to know is Eileen Ford. She is the expert when it comes to enrolling. And so I'm going to hand this over to her.
Thank you, Jamie. Hello again. I'm happy to tell you how easy it is to enroll. A high school diploma or GED is required, along with demonstrated proficiency in the English language. If English is not your first language, a TOEFL score is required. In lieu of a TOEFL score, applicants are given the opportunity to request a waiver by submitting other credentials demonstrating their proficiency. The deadlines for applying are written here. If you'd like to be in classes in January, the deadline for submitting your enrollment form is December 15th. If you would prefer to start in the second spring session that begins in mid-March, the deadline is March 1st. And now for the cost. When you submit your application, there will be a $25 application fee, and the cost for each course is $24.32. So the total cost for the 4-course certificate will be $97.28. But keep in mind that you'll never be billed for the certificate as a whole, and there's no matriculation or deposit fee. The only thing that generates a bill is registering for a course. So you are billed course by course, you pay as you go. And if you ever need to pause or skip a session, just let us know. And again, you will not be billed until you once again register for another course. Typically, students take 2 courses per semester, but there's no set time frame for completing the certificate. You can schedule that in whatever makes the most sense for you. Although certificate students are not eligible for financial aid, some of our students receive tuition assistance from their employers or take out private loans. We also have a payment plan at Penn so that you can pay the tuition in installments, and information about that is on our website.